video, I'm going to discuss about the concept called constructor. So what is a constructor? So constructor in Java is a special type of method so that is used to initialize the object. So here the name of this constructor is same as the class. So we are saying that constructor is a special type of method. However, we are defining and however we are initializing the object for a method, the same way we can do the same initializations for a constructor also. Here, Java constructor is invoked at the time of object creation. So it is going to construct the values, that is, it is providing the data for the object. So that is why we are calling it like a constructor. So by default, it is providing the data for the object here. So what are the rules for creating the Java constructor instance? We are having basically two rules for defining a constructor. First one is constructor name must be same as its class name. Okay. And the constructor must have no explicit return type. So it is not having any return type, and the name of the constructor should be the same like whatever we are defining the class. Okay. So we are having the two types of constructors. One is with the default constructor and second one is the parameterized constructor. Default constructor in the sense we are not passing any arguments in that constructor. Parameterized constructor in the sense we will be passing that parameters through this constructor. Okay. So here, so this is the example for the type of default constructor here. So this is a class with the class name called bike1. Here I'm going to specify a method that is a constructor here with the name called same class name, that is bike1. See, usually we used to declare the methods in the class, no? So if that method is same like the class name in the sense, then we are treating it like a constructor. Okay, here the bike1 is a special method which is nothing but a constructor which has been declared inside the class. So under this constructor, now I'm just trying to print the statement called bike is created. So next, after that, I am going to specify the main method, and then here I'm going to create an object. So bike1 b is equal to new bike1. Okay, so if I try to run this code, the output will be like bike is created. Okay, so this is the default constructor where I haven't passed any parameters in this constructor. So whereas coming to this second one, this is nothing but a parameterized constructor. So here I have defined the class called student4. Okay, and here I'm going to represent the constructor called student4. If you observe the previous example with this one, here I'm passing some arguments. That means here I'm passing some parameters through this constructor. So here I'm just specifying I and n, which is of type I is nothing but an integer and n is nothing but a string over here. So for this variable, so here I'm going to specify the representation called id is equal to I, name is equal to n, which has been already declared. So these are the variables which has been already declared in the class. So again, I'm going to specify a method called void display. In this display, I'm just trying to print the name. And after writing the main method, now I'm going to create two objects for this constructor called student4. S1 is equal to new student4, and then whatever this parameters we have passed for this constructor, now I'm passing some values. Okay, so as I is nothing but an integer, I'm passing the integer over here, and n is nothing but a string. Now here I'm passing the string. So likewise, how many number of values I want to pass this into the parameters, then I can use that many number of representations over here. Finally, I'm just going to represent S1, that means S1 object dot display and S2 dot display. So if I try to run this program, I'll be getting the values which I have passed through this representation. See, in this previous example, here I haven't specified any parameters, but in the parameterized constructor, I'm passing some parameters through that constructor. And I'm going to declare that I'm going to define the values for the parameters, that is id is equal to I and name is equal to n, where these variables has been already declared in the class. So this is how we are making use of a default constructor and parameterized constructor. Next, coming is the this keyword. So what is this keyword in the sense? So this is a reference variable. So this is a reference variable that refers to the current object in Java. Okay, so we are having, that means we are going to represent many objects in Java. No, so to represent, to denote the current object, we are making use of a keyword called this. Okay, so it is a keyword to represent the current class object. So this is always a reference to the object on which way the method is invoking. Okay, so we can use this keyword so inside of a method or constructor. So we can use this keyword inside the method or constructor. So what is the what is the use of this keyword in the sense? It can be used to refer current class instant variables. Okay, so and also it can be used to invoke current class constructor from another method, and also it will be used to invoke current class method. So it can be passed as an argument in the method call, and also it can be passed as an argument to the constructor call. That is, both in the method call and the constructor call, we can able to pass this keyword. And finally, it can also be used to return the current class instance also. So we are having so many usages of this keyword. Okay, so it can be used to refer current class. We can invoke the current class constructor from another method or constructor, and we can invoke the current class method. It can be passed as an argument in either the method call or else in the constructor call, and also it can be written the current class instance also. Then why we use this keyword in Java? Why we are using this instance? So whenever the formal something like the formal parameters and data members of the class are similar, so then JVM will get ambiguity. That means there will be no clarity between the formal parameters and the members of the class. So then we have to specify this keyword. Okay, if it is feeling any ambiguity in finding out the objects indices, then we have to specify this keyword. Okay, to differentiate between the formal parameters and data members of the class, the data member of the class must be preceded by this keyword. Okay, so that's why we are saying that the main purpose of using this keyword is to differentiate the formal parameters and the data members of the class. So this is an example that is going to specify this keyword. Without, if we are not using this keyword, the program will be like this. See here. So here I have specified that class employee, and I have declared the variables integer ID and then string name, and then I'm going to create a constructor called employee, and I'm passing the parameters. So that's why we are calling it like a parameterized constructor. And here I have specified the ID is equal to ID and name is equal to name only. Then I have created a method called void show where I'm trying to print the statement called name. So after the declaration of my main method, so here I'm just passing employee E1 is equal to new employee some values. And again in the same way, I'm just trying to include another values. E2 is equal to new employee and new values. Okay, so now I want to display that E1 dot show and E2 dot show. Okay, if I try to run this program here, so this will be having like E1 and E2 representations with the show is called. Here it is having the two parameters called ID and name. So here also I have represented like ID, and here also ID name, and also the variables also ID and name only. Now the JVM will get the confusion that which ID and which name has to display. So that's why we'll get the 0 as, that is null as output. If we use this keyword, the same program, I'm just including this keyword in the previous program. See, I'm just specifying this dot ID is equal to ID, this dot name is equal to name. So if we are going to specify that one, this program is same to the previous one, but I have just included this before this object over here. Okay, so if I'm trying to mention that one, if it wants to display that E1 dot show and D2 dot show in this sense, then it will comes into the consideration that this ID and name is belonging to this constructor. As we are passing the values for that constructor, then it is going to display these two values over here. Okay, so that is the difference between that is why we are using this keyword. Okay, so to differentiate between the formal parameters and the data members, so it is going to use this keyword. Okay, so this previous program is without this, and this program is with this keyword, so that here we will be getting the output like whatever we are going to define. Next, with the garbage collection. So coming to this garbage collection, so garbage means unreferenced objects. So in the previous video, I have specified that if we are going to assign some object to the another method in the sense, then the methods specified object will be automatically moved to the garbage collection over here. Okay, that means unreferenced objects will be collected in this garbage collection. So that's why we are saying that garbage collection is a process of reclaiming the runtime unused memory, and that too automatically. So it will be doing this claiming of runtime unused memory automatically. So in other words, we can say that it is a way to destroy the unused objects. So if you come across with the C language and C++, we'll be using the function called free in C and delete in C++ to destroy the unused objects. But in Java, so it is automatically performing that. That means it is automatically performing the destruction of that unused object for providing the better memory management. So if you come across with the advantages of this garbage collection, the first advantage is memory efficient. See, it makes Java more memory efficient because garbage collector is going to remove the unreferenced objects from heap memory. So it is going to remove the unreferenced objects from heap memory, and it is automatically done. See, it is Java is going to automatically it is going to do the collection of the garbage automatically. Here we don't need to make extra efforts to do that collection. Okay, and the third one is assign its reference value to null. See, if you want to make your object eligible for a garbage collection, so we need to assign that reference value to null. Then automatically that value will be moved to the garbage collection. And the final advantage is primitive types are not objects. Okay, so here whatever the primitive types we are having, those are not the objects and they cannot be assigned null. Okay, as I'm saying that we can assign that means if you are assigning the null value to any reference variable, it will be moved to garbage collection. No, likewise, we cannot assign null to the primitive types. So these are the 4 types of advantages of using this garbage collection. One is with it makes Java more efficient because garbage collector is going to remove the unreferenced objects from heap memory. It is automatically done by the garbage collector, so we don't need to make any extra efforts. And if you want to make your object eligible for garbage collection, then you need to assign its reference value to null. So we cannot assign null to the primitive types. This is with the garbage collection. So in this video, we have come across with the constructor and then types of constructor and then this keyword and finally the garbage collection. Thank you.